morning.
If everything goes our way, we should get wrapped up with the preliminary part of planting season. There's a pretty good rain coming in this afternoon, so we are going to keep the hammer down first thing. To boil it all down, if the odds are in our favor today, we get everything wrapped up, planted, and sprayed. Family and I will be hopping on the private jet, going back down to Florida until about late September. Then we'll come back and start working on harvest prep. I kid. In all seriousness, let's take a quick stop south of the farm and see how our corn and soybeans that got hit with the frost are faring. Pretty much as I predicted the other day when we looked at these, there's a lot of soybeans that aren't too happy about the frost along with the continued cool mornings. Overall though, it does appear like we're going to maintain a majority of our stand out here. They definitely are ready for it to warm up. You gotta give soybeans props. They're resilient little creatures. They'll fight through the worst conditions, and that's why farmers have started planting them early and earlier. They've got the vigor to handle less than ideal growing situations. When it comes to the corn directly to the north of those soybeans we just looked at, the case is not exactly the same. A lot of frost damage out here, but at the same time, there is some green growth down at the bottom. It hasn't really been warm enough to skyrocket more vegetative activity out of the ground. Hopefully as the temperatures continue to trend upwards, we'll have regrowth out here. It's probably somewhat difficult to see on the camera. I would rate the injury level out here as intermittent. I would speculate that 60 to 70% of the corn seedlings definitely got frosted off. There's a few here and there that are still green that are leafing out. Other than that, I mean, we're just relying on the natural mechanisms of corn to protect us here, regain composure, and hopefully result in a decent stand once it comes back up. I know myself and our crops are both ready for some warmer temperatures. It's actually rather chilly this morning. I think we got down into the upper 30s. Not a frost risk by any means, just not enjoyable to be in. My first priority this morning is to go over to Tower Hill and get my Hagee. All the old guard's asleep and I thought I'd have to wait on a ride, but Katie's around already. She gets up real early and goes to the gym, so she's gonna chauffeur me over. Made it over west of Tower Hill, and it looks like the sprayer and the GPS receiver are both still here. So we got that going for us this morning. We can figure these doors out. Oh, no problem at all. Looks like our accessories have power, meaning no one stripped any copper wire from this thing. I'm gonna let the Hagee warm up for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna get out and check the tire pressure, put my spare set of keys away somewhere, and then we're gonna hit the road, headed east. We're gonna stop back at the farm. I have a lot of things I want to do today, but I've yet to really develop an itinerary. As long as everything gets done before the rain, I'm not gonna complain about the order in which it gets done. Okay, that's my fourth 40-mile farm trip of the last 2 days. And it appears that I still have all of my hair, though some of it may be grayer now. While I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my rinse tank because it's actually been empty for the last few days. I've only been spraying the Zidua, which doesn't really hang up in your booms, and I'm going to continue to spray it, so I didn't see a need to get the water in there ever since the opportunity for that frost the other day. So now I'm gonna go ahead and top it off real quick while I'm here. I believe this fitting right here is actually for your clean water rinse tank. I just don't have a valve that connects to this. Not to get wet. Okay, it won't take super long. I'd imagine every bit of 5 to 10 minutes to fill up that 100-gallon tank. On to the next thing on the list, the tanker needs moved closer to the sprayer. I'm attempting to be a master multitasker right now while the water tank fills up on the sprayer, let the air build up on the semi, and then I'm gonna get the planter out because we'll also need that here soon. Plenty of oil. Fire up the old 8R370. I don't have very much to plant, so I'm not concerned about the diesel fuel or the diesel exhaust fluid. I do have some of those 3.9 Bex beans in the planter from the last field. The field I'm going to is the same herbicide platform, so that's not really a consideration for cleaning out. However, they are a 3.5 bean, so we want to get those longer season beans out of the planter. That way we don't have some late bloomers out there when we're trying to get out and harvest them. like halfway down with that project, but we gotta go back to our other project because it looks like the sprayer's over full. I don't know how you would ever make that assessment. I'd say there's no more room for water in it. Now that'll be splashing out going down the road. The sight glass shows both compartments should be empty. I'm always curious what it actually looks like on the inside. I'm sure there's still some in. No, not really a whole lot. Definitely still a little bit on the front that needs cleaned out. That's not surprising. We'll fire it back up for a second. Pump the rest out, purge the air from the line. Pretty much spotless. Planning on going and spraying. I will have to recruit a driver to go get me some more herbicide for a few farms down south. Very minimal acreage, just don't have enough to do it all. Getting the tanker out of the way and then move on to another project. Actually, the semi needs fuel, so I'll make that my first project. We established that this fuel gauge isn't very accurate when I ran it out of fuel about a month and a half ago when it said I had a half tank. So 3/4 of a tank must mean it has less than a quarter left, if I had to guess. Get some of that nice red diesel fuel in here. Just kidding, this is road fuel. Off-road dyed farm fuel, road fuel. There was a sticker on there. It lasted every bit of about 2 hours. See, it's not dyed. Got enough fuel in the semi now to not have to worry about running out today. Not going to be able to drive cross country by any means, just not going to need a tow or a top off at any point. I have about what I need to spray the last farm next to Mattoon that we also need to plant. Then I have about 50 to 53 acres south of town that I don't have any chemical for, so I'm going to have to call in an order real quick and then see if Jeff or Nate will drive for me. I don't exactly have a dedicated driver. I do know Nate is busy today, so it may be Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, need a 56 acre load. 15 gallon acre, just 3 1/4 ounces of Zidua SC.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how you put it on the truck.
That's all you need, 56 acres?
That's all I got left.
Well, man, ain't you the spray man?
I'm something. I don't know if I go that far.
Well, I'll put it on the front tank.
Okay, that works. I made the order. Now I got to find someone to hold on to the steering wheel for me. My dad made the mistake of volunteering to dump the planter tanks for me, so we're going to go ahead and get to spraying real quick. Sun's peeking through the clouds right now. Maybe our last good day of planting before the rain moves in this afternoon. Again, I don't know if I'll spray everything right now or if I'll spray this last field to plant, then come plant it. Then once I get that done, come spray. Because planting before the rain is taking priority to spraying, especially because I'm actually so caught up with the sprayer. If you look very closely at that valve body, you see the hydraulic oil on it. There were some valves in there that the Hagee mechanic changed yesterday afternoon when he was helping with the fold issue. He also adjusted those eye bolts that I'd been messing with to get it to unfold. Said it should be good to go. We are close to Mattoon, so if we have an issue here, I may actually just run the sprayer into Alliance tractor. There's the only problem with loading up before you go to the field. The sprayer is sentient to the weight in the tank. 20 mile an hour. Okay, so we're not gonna be going too fast. No worries. It's gonna take me longer to get to Mattoon at 20 mile an hour than it did to get back from Tower Hill at 34 mile an hour. Almost there. It's never fun driving in the city. They're not as considerate about trimming their trees high. That and these city people are always concerned about their trees and their yards and their flowers and their gardens. Us big bad farmers. Exactly what we like to get. Just kidding. As a good citizen and farmer that follows all rules and regulations of spraying, I do have to do my best to not drift on anyone. I'm just messing around. Low and slow when you're in town, that's the only way. There's a lot of flowers around here. I did not realize that, but I also never was a sprayer operator before. You notice things like that when there's a potential for you to kill them. Longest pass of the field The only question that remains is whether or not I have enough chemical to spray this. Yesterday I got enough for the Tower Hill farm and this, which is like 240 acres roughly. I oversprayed a little bit on Tower Hill, which may lead me into bottleneck here. If I run out, I'll just run over to Jeff and top off with a little bit from our next farm. Oh, that's what I get for talking about it. This is a 37-ish acre farm, and I just ran out at 35 acres. So I'm gonna go top off with maybe 100 gallons, if not 50 gallons. I'd say somewhere around 200 gallons in the tank. If we run out with 2 acres left, starting with 200 gallons, we definitely messed up somewhere. Other than one unusually muddy spot on this farm, the rest is in pretty good shape. The difference is one small muddy spot on a 38 acre farm is a little different than 2 small muddy spots on a 200 acre farm. The proportions aren't exactly the same. It's almost a bigger deal out here, especially because it's right in town. So if you mess something up, everyone's gonna see it. There goes Jeff home with the tanker. We're gonna prioritize getting this planted and then we'll spray our other farms. All done. Time to mosey on over to the entrance and see if this left winglet's gonna fold. I do want to draw attention to how clean of a job I did turning on the ends. I'm getting really good about squaring up with my in-row pass. That's kind of the goal as you come through each time. You walk down what you've already ran over, and then you cut into the next row you're about to spray. The first 3 or 4 days I sprayed, I did not do a good job of that because the all-wheel steer is kind of wonky. Getting used to it though, and it's starting to look like I'm a professional. Please fold. Oh, first try. Nice and empty solution tank means back to 34 plus mile an hour on the road. This is more my pace. Now that is service, ladies and gentlemen. I leave for no more than 45 minutes. I get back, tractor's fueled up, topped off with depth, and the seed tanks are emptied out for me. All I had to do is get it out of the barn. I have no idea. Just Dad doing Marty things. The big old DB60 sure makes the rear tire squat on that 8R370. I guess it's heavy. I'm gonna get out of here before I get wrangled into helping them out. Katie's not any wiser.
If you go slow enough, the work's already done.
Yeah, exactly. The sun may be hiding behind the clouds right now. It is warm enough that I've lost my outer layers. I'm gonna fire the tractor up and head to the northeast, just where we sprayed. We've got plenty of help around the farm today, not doing a whole lot, so I'm just gonna load it to field, keep the weight off of the DB60. The tender driver tried to be quicker than me, but I'm moving pretty fast this morning. Oh, that's Katie driving. I'm surprised. She's usually quicker. Chris, you can expect to be slow. That'll be our last load of the year, unless we have to replant. We're loaded up with Beck's 3555 Extend Flex beans, 3.5, and Allie and Lenny came to ride for the last soybean field of the year. Hey Lenny! You gonna ride in the tractor? Yeah. You say hi? Wow, that's an outfit. You got your tool belt shirt on and your Crocs. Let's get unfolded so we can knock this one out. In a good way, not in a bad way. Yeah. Lenny, how do you feel about almost being done with planting season?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good? Are you worn out from the 20 acres you've planted already? Yeah. Will you show everyone your tool belt on your shirt? You got a wrench on there, you got some pliers.
Oh, your shoes.
Yep, oh, that's a hammer. Only a few more rounds to go. We're headed back to the sprayer. There you go, train guys. Right through the middle of Mattoon. I bet those cars are really thrilled. Lenny, what are your thoughts on the train? Do trains go choo-choo? Yeah. What are your thoughts on the state of the world today? It's a mess? The ride-alongs go much better if Allie forfeits her seat to Lenny. We strap him in and she sits on my extra seat bucket. It's worked out okay. Here we are, last pass of the last field. Oh, sir, what is going on over there?
Issue! Issue! They're stinky. Issue!
There it is. Planting's over. High fives, everyone. Lenny, high five. Planting's over. Nice. Give your mom one. Good job. We can't celebrate too much. We don't have anything up.
Good work.
Not very much up.
Good work, team.
Okay, we just finished up our last field. I was planning my way out, but I wanted to try something that I think I can do. If I go to this runoff procedure, I can bump my target population up to 150,000 plus. I could probably go anywhere to 500,000. Test speed 10 mile an hour. And then we just hit start. And of course it's gonna make me turn the generator on first. That would make sense. Then we can hit start. And the units should start running. There's a lot of hoops to jump through here. And they'll tell me whether or not they're planting. It looks like we're pretty much out of seed, so not gonna matter. It's a pretty useful feature though. That would prevent me having to plant all over the field to get the units empty. I could just do that and just dump the beans on the ground. I don't exactly see any beans falling out, so they must be dry. Let's head home. Only a little bit of mud made it onto the planter from the one wet hole on this farm. Should you even really be planting beans if there's not a little bit of mud out there? That was sarcasm, by the way. I normally like to take a pre-road travel bathroom break. Since I'm literally in the middle of town, I don't really feel that comfortable doing it without exposing myself to someone unwillingly. So we're just gonna hold it. I pulled up to the farm and there was kind of just a park wherever you want with no rhyme or reason situation going on, so I did the same thing. I just parked the planter here. Would make sense to put it in the shed. Just nothing makes sense though, so I put it here. Yeah, I really don't know about the parking situation. There's just stuff kind of scattered everywhere. I'm moving my chess pieces over to the Hagee because that's what I'll be in for the rest of the afternoon. Back and forth we go today. Time to fire up the Hagee again. One last ride of soybean residual. We started the morning in Tower Hill. We made our way to Mattoon. Now we're going to be headed down to Neoga. Last couple of fields down that way to spray, just using the Group 15 residual product, Residua SC. No burn down activity. We field cultivated all this before we planted. Should hold back any broadleaves or grasses, specifically small seeded broadleaves like that pesky water hemp. That's our really biggest troublemaker. And BASF Residua SC seems to be a rock star product for doing that. I'm gonna go hammer this out real quick. You've watched me spray a million times, so I'll let you just watch it quickly. not really that long of an afternoon of spraying. I only was gone for an hour and a half or so. Most of that was road travel. But we are done spraying soybean residual herbicides for now, unless I forgot a field, which isn't unlikely. I've worked for myself, I've worked for my family. Now on to the charitable part of the video, working for others. Some of you may or may not recall that last spring I donated our planting services to the Mattoon FFA Futures Farmers of America chapter at the high school, because they've got about a 6 to 7 acre field the city of Mattoon has given them the rights to farm. It's not necessarily a direct involvement from the chapter in terms of management. It's just too complicated to orchestrate all that. But myself, a few other farmers and retailers donate services to the chapter. In a roundabout way, the FFA chapter gets a nice, healthy donation because they harvest this crop that costs them $0 to grow, and it's a nice little supplement to the chapter's budget. I've once again been commandeered to help out with this, and this year they're getting a little adventurous and wanting to plant some corn. I'm running in to check that out because we've got all of our work done, so now we can start with our freelance projects. The only real problem with this farm is that it's located in a wildly inconvenient spot to get big farm equipment like we run. The person who harvested it also did some form of tillage. It's not the smoothest finish I've ever seen, but for being done in the fall, it's not bad. My goal is to do the minimal amount of legwork to make this possible. South Central FS, a local cooperative, is donating chemical and fertilizer for this corn crop. Hopefully they're supplying some nitrogen in that fertilizer bundle, because that corn's gonna need it. And it's smooth enough that the no-till coulters, spike closing wheels, and downforce on our corn planter should make a pretty good seed bed out here. I'll be blunt with you all. If it was my farm, I would 100% hit with the field cultivator, get a nice clean slate out of the gate, then hit it with chemical. There's a bit of an issue with field cultivators though. It's the logistics. The north entrance to this little area is very narrow. I don't even think our field cultivator would get through there. The north entrance is the proper way in. The south entrance is the way I'm gonna come, because the north entrance is on Route 16. There's a lot of traffic through there. It's a tight fit. It's not worth the trouble. Herein lies the main issue with getting back there with the field cultivators. It's afternoon, we're right next to the high school. A lot of traffic, a lot of kids. Probably just gonna no-till it. Here's another unfield cultivator friendly road. There's rain coming, and there's no time like the present, so let's get to it. Rock and roll. I don't remember this rig being so rough last year. I wonder if the back tires need some more air or something, because it really bounces. Feels really light on the front end. We haven't made any changes to it though. This probably isn't going to take me very long unless I hit something and break the planter, which would be terrible on a volunteer project. I'm going to get after it, putting the Beck 6374 in the ground. As expected, I had to tap into that emergency bag of Pioneer I had. Not even
targeting that high of a population, right around 33.5. This is a good area in terms of farm ground potential, but this used to be baseball fields, so there's some sand and other stuff on top of the ground that really limits its top end. The no-tilling's going all right. Kind of wetter underneath than I was expecting. It almost looks like I'm one of those cover croppers. Look, fighting into the growing weeds.
It's for the kids. Not the bathroom break, the planting the corn part. Our no-till misadventures are over. The corn planter is showing 8 acres, which seems a little bit higher than I was expecting. Before we leave, we're going to purge the belts. That just gets all the corn out of the belts, the delivery belts at the bottom of the seed plates. I think a couple times empties it, but we'll do it like 5 times just to be safe. This place is like a wet dream for some of you train fanatics. You missed it earlier when we were playing around the field. The train went right by here. I'm headed back southwest, which is the direction of home. Looks like there is a rain approaching, which would make this almost a poetic ending to the first round of planting season. I don't technically count that last field as a field of ours. The field I planted west of town is probably what I would consider the end for us. That was just kind of an afterthought project to help out the kids. You know, it's actually pretty hard to have any complaints after a good day of farming. Well, that's not true. Let me get my list out. John Deere equipment's too expensive. Price of corn is too low. Inputs are too high. You know, the usual stuff. It's not actually a list of complaints. It's my spray list. It's about to become fire starter because I've got all of our corn stalks sprayed. Don't have to worry about that till we come back and clean up our growing corn. With all of our crops in the ground and our herbicides applied, it's long overdue time for me to go home and take it easy tonight. Maybe even enjoy a show or two. I don't know what show, but the world is my oyster. That's gonna be it for me though, everyone. I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you wanna see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!